Hello. Welcome, one and all. I sent Vic the link. He should be here shortly. Why is my camera all messed up? Stupid cats. All right. Get going in a second. All right. Get rid of that. All right. So hopefully Vic shows up. This is me, Peter Palmiotti, and I'm inking Beowar. Back at today, less than 1,000 to go to get funded. 9 days left. As Shadowhawk states. See. And yeah, welcome everybody. This is Making Comics and Art, episode 284. Just want to make sure. Yeah. Trying to set up my screen so I can see everything. Let's do this. Bink. Okay, good. I got too many windows. Work with me. Maybe not. Okay.
Hey.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
It is going.
Awesome. I'm totally stoked for this, bro.
Just setting up my screen so I see stuff. So what's that you're working on?
Oh, this is there's a fan art contest for Irene's Fiendish 2. And so this is one of her characters called Ragna that I'm doing a kind of like a raising the dead kind of spell or something. I don't know. Just thought it'd be cool to have some skulls and magic and stuff and flowing hair.
Yeah, looks good.
Let me do this because I don't want to be of any kind of distraction to you inking this piece. I want everybody to be focused on this, so I turn off my camera. If you don't mind me not having a camera on. Some people...
I don't mind.
All right, cool. Yeah, I want everybody to be focused on this. Oh, wow, that looks cool, man.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I tried. I'm not a 100% professional in setting it up to ink, but I'm working on it. Because, like, you see some of the sort of pencil. It should be a cleaner image, but this is good enough for me. Good enough to work on.
I'm not. I'm not the tightest penciler either, and I apologize.
Oh, you're pretty tight. You're pretty tight. It's like I prefer loose over super tight, because then that allows me to, really go in and have fun.
Oh, yeah, definitely go in and have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see something that works better a different way, you do it. I'm just super stoked to have you be inking this, man.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Let's see. Oh, we got Apex. Welcome, one and all. Oh, yeah, let's see some cool Palmiotti inking over Vic's pencils. Feature our team on Metamex. I know we didn't fully discuss, but Metamex is going to be a one-shot? What's the deal with that?
I think that's what he was talking about.
Margot's here.
I'm not sure. But that's gonna be awesome when it does happen. Absolutely.
Yeah. Apex camera views are tough to set up. Yeah, it's I clicked on something, and when I try to open up a piece of art, it goes to a zip drive function. I don't even know what the hell I did. So I have to open the art in a art program. It's weird. But neither here nor there. None of you see my end anyway. So. So I put all my cats up so they won't be trying to climb me while I'm working.
Oh, cool. Apex says, one shot possibly again with Madam X and Silver Boa team up. Cool.
That's his other character, right?
Actually, Silver Boa is one of Rex's characters.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the character.
Everybody's got a million characters.
They do.
It's cool.
I've only introduced a couple of mine so far, but I've got a million of my own too. One step at a time, though, right?
Yeah. Gotta get the first book funded, which the link is in the chat, pinned to the top, for Beowar. All right.
Yeah, we're close now. We're 82% funded. We're about $890 away. We still got 10 days. I'm feeling very positive.
Yeah, you're close. You're close. All right. Let's see. Something like that. So what is this again? Is this a pinup or possible cover? What's the deal?
I'd like to make it a variant cover.
Awesome. There's no room for a title.
I'll just do it as a virgin variant.
You virgin.
No trade dress.
I know.
I know you know. I'm saying for some bullshit. But he is saving like one of the sacrificial virgins from the story.
There you go.
So
fitting. All right. Boom, boom. So it's the coldest day it's been so far today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like 40 something going up to only 53, something like that.
Holy cow.
But, you know, by Friday, it will be back in the 70s and then it will go down again. I mean, living in Kentucky, it's like it's never severe weather for too long. And Apex Comics says, I'm sure Peter and Vic have tons of characters in a few teams on top of that. Yes. Yeah, I have a bunch of characters I want to get out as well. Definitely a powerful looking variant cover. I'll purchase another Beowar magazine for that. Excellent.
Nice. Yeah, your books, you're going to be putting your book out in what, the early part of next year, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
So Retro issue 1. I got another book called Alien Arena. I'm going to be doing a Retro Zero issue. You know, I talked about it previously. It's like I was going to do just a mini comic that was going to have sort of the origin of Retro's name.
Right.
And I came up with something better because I was like, I really don't want it to be a mini issue. I want it to be at least a regular issue. So it's going to be, you know, a 32-page book. Like issue 1 is a little beefed up. It will be a 40-page book. But Retro Zero, it's going to be my short story, which will be the origin of Retro's name. Plus, I think 3 other short stories, and I'm going to co-write those with 3 other writers, and I'm going to get 3 other pencilers to pencil those stories. So those will be focused on sort of future glimpses of what's going to happen in the series. You know, it'll probably be within the first 12 issues. So little bits of sneak peeks that will be coming up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about it. And it allows me to work with other people, you know, using my character. We definitely promote Peter Palmiotti's retro books in CG. Awesome.
Oh, you know,
So,
I'll pump your book on my channel. You know that for a fact.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wish I could put it out tomorrow. I'm excited for it. And I get just too many things on my plate. I'm all over the place currently. I'll be gone kind of sort of for 2 months. My schedule is just totally wacky, but I'll get it together next year. I don't need that. What am I doing? When I'm inking over pencils, I have a piece of paper under my hand. But this is red line. I don't need paper.
Right. Otherwise, your hands wind up looking like mine do. Mine are all covered. And my chat always tells me your hands are all black. You look like you're working on a car. I'm like, yeah, it's all graphite and ink, and I'm not a neat artist. I need to do better with that.
I think what because I think I asked Calfury like what he uses, because some people use a heavier lead which smudges less. It's not necessarily your fault. I know people use like they have gloves on, if they're doing digital, and some pencils use it as well, so it doesn't smudge across the page as much.
Right.
But I don't know. It's like, I guess I'll find out more when I really start focusing on penciling.
Yeah, I'm gonna try the gloves. I'm gonna try the gloves.
Because when I pencil, I use a regular number 2. That's what I'm comfortable with at the moment. But I think
got this
good.
great. Oh, I just got this great deal at Walmart. Right. It was a box. It was in the stationery section, right? And I don't even know where the box is, but it was a box of 50 Statler HB number 2 pencils with 50 pencil top erasers and a pencil sharpener for $6. And that's
Nice.
they are the Statler HB drawing pencils, really is what they are. They're so good to draw with, and they don't smudge nearly half as much as a regular number 2.
But do they like go down as smoothly? Like,
Yeah.
part of the perk of the number 2 is that it's just really smooth and
Flows.
yeah, good, really like fun to work with, as opposed to like I've worked with a HB and it's like it's so hard and stiff.
Right. This is I'd say somewhere in between that. I've always liked the Statler drawing pencils better anyways, because they seem to be
Right.
a little bit looser.
So I watched the latest House of the Dragon, or House of Dragon, whatever it is.
Is that a good series?
It's it's really good. I don't know if you watched, the previous show.
Oh yeah, I
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, it was really good, and yeah, like it didn't end as fans would have liked, but it still wasn't horrible ending.
No.
It was just not necessarily how the characters would have acted, but it was dramatic.
Right.
Anyway, I like the new series. I really like it.
I'll have to check it out. I'll definitely have to check it out.
And yesterday's, or whatever, Sunday's episode was really cool.
I watched. I fell asleep because I did it right. I started watching it after one of my streams, and my streams they end at like 6 a.m. in the morning. So I started watching Werewolf by Night, and it was really good. I got to finish watching it.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. It's it's just a little under an hour. I really liked it. It was I was holding off watching it, but it was like that was good. Because I watched She-Hulk. Parts of it were okay, but it was a little lame.
I think what did it for me was seeing that it's not it's a mixture of CGI between the actress and this guy that is dressed up like her with makeup done like her. And so like that whole twerking scene, right, where you had half the people going, oh my god, this is ridiculous, and some of the people going, oh no, that's wicked cool, I love that. It's like, it's a dude. That's a dude. That's a dude twerking. I mean, just be aware that it's probably not her twerking.
Perhaps.
Because the actress is really kind of pretty, I like her, but yeah, no, I couldn't get into that series at all.
Yeah, it's like they have little bits of threads that will probably become bigger stories.
Yeah,
but if you don't watch it, you're not going to miss out, really.
I think they've tried to do like this with the stuff for the shows for Disney. I think they've tried to do some fun stuff with certain series, and they've tried to do some really, kind of cool stuff. I liked Falcon. I like that one.
Yeah, that was good.
I liked Loki. Really liked Loki. I thought Loki was good. I didn't think I was gonna like it. Like the first few episodes in, I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna like this." But by the end, I did. I really liked the way they handled all of it.
Yeah,
it was interesting. It wouldn't have been my Loki story, but
yeah, Loki's going to play a bigger part in Phase 5. I forget.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's like a show you should watch if you're interested in that storyline. And it was creative and it was fun and it was like even though it's a little bizarre, but like, what are they doing? What's going on? To me, I like Cap. I was probably looking forward to that the most, and it's like the first 3 episodes were great. The last 3 could have been told better, I think, but there's a lot in there.
Oh yeah.
A lot going on. But yeah, it's like not everything is a hit, but it's worth seeing most of them if you're into the Marvel stuff.
Moon Knight was bizarrer than I thought it was going to be.
I really like Moon Knight.
It was good. It was surprising, That's what I really
Yeah.
liked about it.
Oscar Isaacs is so good. Yeah, I really liked him ever since Ex Machina.
Yeah, wicked good movie, wicked good actor.
Yeah, I love that movie. And we got Margot, who's going to be doing some coloring while listening to you both. It will be productive, absolutely. I want everybody in the chat should be working. And Apex says HP pencils are good for great price. Yeah, color some great art, Margot. What are you coloring, Margot? Let us know. I forget if I gave you a wrench. I can't give people wrenches live, but I will after if I haven't. And Apex says Werewolf in that. It's possibly the best Marvel project on Disney Plus. Well, it's easy to do in one and done. Like, they're not going to drag it out. It's all story. It's all,
Right. Now, do you think they're gonna try and do maybe more with some of the Marvel monsters? Like
I hope so.
who's
Yeah,
that?
what
Legion
was it? Rex
monster?
was saying. Rex was saying that they might not do Ghost Rider. I don't know if there's a conflict because Ghost Rider was on Shield.
Oh yeah.
But I thought that was a good, interpretation of the character. I thought that
Oh yeah.
worked.
That's a different Ghost Rider though. That's not Johnny Blaze. That's
Right. The new one.
yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely love to see more with this sort of Marvel horror characters. I'm not a big horror fan per se, but definitely enjoyed Werewolf by Night,
Yeah.
and it's like I love Ghost Rider. I told you the story, like me getting into comics was because I was working on Ghost Rider.
Yes.
So I would love to see him done right. I thought the Nicolas Cage movies were fun.
They were definitely fun, and for like that particular era of the movies being made, they were good.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like not the best Marvel did, but not the worst.
exactly. It was definitely one Hulk movie that was questionable.
I still think like the transformation of Nicolas Cage into Ghost Rider is probably the best transformation that Marvel has done. Period. I thought it was really good.
Oh, it was. Yeah, definitely. Um, there's rumors out there that they're in talks with Keanu Reeves to play Ghost Rider.
He would have been excellent 20 years ago.
That's my whole thing. Is like, all right, yeah. I mean, an old, washed up Johnny Blaze, maybe. I don't know.
maybe he's like mentor Johnny Blaze to younger Ghost Rider or something. Who knows? They could do anything.
Old man Ghost Rider.
Oh man, Gozer. You know, I'm excited for what is it, Deadpool 3? That's gonna have Wolverine in it.
Yeah, Hugh
That
Jackman making his return.
just when you thought he was dead, he comes back. Yeah, you know, they said this takes place before Logan, so that's like technically when Wolverine dies, but yeah, they you know, like Ryan and Hugh Jackman have been like they're total professionals as far as promoting stuff and you know stuff going viral. I'd love to see them do a movie together where it's you know where it's right, not the vast huge mistake. They you know the way they handled Deadpool in the beginning.
Oh God, yeah. I remember watching that movie, and I'm going to go, wait a second. Are they really gonna try and sell that off as Deadpool?
Yeah, it was like why even why even call him Deadpool?
Exactly.
uh,
In fact, the movie probably would have been more enjoyable if they had never used the name Deadpool. I think that just kind of soured that whole movie for everybody. Everybody's
yeah. Eric's coloring book, Indelible Comics.
Oh, Eric and Boyd. He's somebody you'll see in the chats.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I was subscribed to him, but I was checking out his channel recently. I think we just became Facebook friends or something.
He's a cool dude. He is a cool dude.
Cool.
Really nice.
I'll have to get him on. And Amanda B. This is pants optional stream, Peter? Yes. Pants optional. So who's going to be coloring this piece that I'm making?
I'm going to try and get my regular colorist, who is this wonderful lady, Michaela. She's part of a husband and wife team called Barbusco Studios. And yeah, she's the one who colored the cover and the fighting pit scene. Yeah.
Very cool.
Otherwise, I'm going to be scrambling for colors. There's a lot of hungry people out there, though. I just like got to look for the right one, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, my experience is well, my book is like it went through. I had another penciler in mind, and then you know my friend Rich penciled issue 1, but you know he's gone on to painting and illustration, so I'll be penciling my book from issue 2 on. And I had a colorist. You know, if you look at my Kickstarter page, that's the original colorist. Then I had he sort of he only colored like 3 pages in 4 months or something crazy like that, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to go with somebody else. You know, you're taking too long. It's like I really like your work. I really like what you did, but you know, I can't be waiting that long. And you know, the crazy thing is, he was like, while initially he was coloring, and I was liking what I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Oh, I would love to color another book of yours," and I was like, "Me too. You know, I would love that too. You know, really like what he was doing, but too slow, and that would have screwed me up immensely." Meanwhile, he's coloring for like 10 other people, so I think that was it. You know, it probably wasn't too hard on him, and he thought he could get away with it, but no. Anyway, so I had another friend who was going to color it, but he dropped out of comics. You know, he's recently came back, but he had some life stuff going on, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to color. You know, I've literally read tens of thousands of comics probably, and I really, you know, after inking for so many years, I know what I don't like. I know
Right.
100 little things that colorists do or don't do that you know, always see or don't see. And I was like, you know, let me give it a shot myself. And you know, I have a tablet now, I have an iPad now, I have various art programs. You know, I'm initially going to color it like a 80s comic book, so it'll be simple sort of coloring. You know, it might look a little like 2D animation kind of coloring, but I think it will be best. I miss the days when you know, comics were colored with iconic colors.
Yeah.
Now you can use every color in the rainbow, and you open up a lot of books and everything looks the same. It's like, oh, it is 1,000 colors. You know, it's
And
like,
sometimes it gets muddy, right? It's like,
yeah,
oh, you do miss some of that very, very clean, like distinct um, color separations.
yeah. You know, he's picked up a Captain America book from the past. It's red, white, and blue. It's very, you know,
Right.
it's very red, white, and blue. You know, you pick up the Hulk, he was very green. You know, um, I used to love that. Like Spider-Man is very blue and red. You know, and if he's in the shadow, then there's a slightly variation of his colors. But
Well, I look at like like I remember like the incredible things they were doing with just, you know, the regular old school coloring with in the especially with Marvel comics towards the late '80s and the very beginning of the '90s, and man, like Jim Lee's run on X-Men and you know, X-Force. I mean, they were like really doing some for not having a ton of options. They were doing some fantastic stuff.
yeah, you know, it's like the characters popped off the page, and you know, it's like I have certain things in mind I want to try. I don't know if I will be able to execute them, um, but you know, it's like I always wanted to try something like where you have the heroes and villains in bright primary colors or something equivalent to that. And then you have the backgrounds a little muted color wise. Like, if you've seen The Matrix, then like color was a big theme in those movies, and the way they manipulated the color really took you into the world of the Matrix, and if you weren't in the Matrix, then it was all these other dreary colors and whatnot. And really, like, color is important. It's got to be done well, and it can't just be slapped on. There's a whole logic to it.
I don't use a brush very often, but when I do get around to using one, I love it. I just don't trust myself so much.
Yeah, it's like everything.
You get to develop a feel, I imagine, right?
Yeah. I feel like, I'm no inking master, because I'm just, slapping my brush against the paper. I feel like there's probably inkers doing it, a very technically certain way. But it's like I might hammer and chisel, but the final result is, it's like I just want it to look good. I don't care how I get there.
Okay.
So it's like I'm probably not holding the brush correctly. I'm probably not doing fancy long strokes, or pulling from a certain way, or it's like, I'm sure there's definitely anchors out there that are more technical minded and maybe old school minded about how illustrators do it or whatever. I just want to have fun with it and make it look good at the end. Thanks everybody who's showing up in chat and commenting. Let's see what I missed. Did I miss? Let's see. Everybody's saying hello. Okay, pants optional. Right. And Apex mentions Doc Martens dies. Yeah, there's when I worked at Valiant, the colorists there were like, they print out a page from the comic and color on that page, and that's how they colored the comic. They scanned that, and that was the final result. So it looked like it was watercolored.
Right.
It was Doc Martens dies.
I always wondered how they got there, because their color look was different than what anybody else was doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and like, I wouldn't say everything they did was great. It was definitely, they stood apart from everybody, which was good. Like, there's millions of comics out there every month or whatever. It's good to stand out.
Right.
But I think they could have, worked with it a little better. It's like, a lot of times if there's a wall in the background, it's not a horrible thing to make it a flat color. You don't have to do all this texturing, effects on it or whatever everywhere. You keep some things simple so that, your eye goes to wherever the detail is on the page or whatever. Apex says, I wish I had a wrench to promote Beowar. I'll have to give you a wrench in the future. Like I said, I can't do that at the moment. Link for Beowar is pinned. That is correct. It's at the top. It's also in the video description box. You can click on it there as well. It's pinned at the top. Margot says, yes, yes, yes. Amanda dropped it herself. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
So you can go check it out, spread the word, share on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. And, well, a wrench would be good anyway to pro. Well, as soon as I get some assistance, I'll have my assistant do it. Amanda says, find the page address, copy it, then paste in chat. Margot, cut and paste, super easy. Yeah. Apex. I memorized the channel's link. I want to make the link simpler.
Oh, I don't even know how to do that. I know when I do my streams, like I get my chat always has me trying to play this video or this link in YouTube, and I'm like, I just basically tell them, look, I don't like playing YouTube links, but because it can be difficult depending on what you're doing, bouncing back and forth, trying to pull everything.
Yeah,
up.
I mean, you do music and that's cool. Like, but I'm sure like, if you ever get monetized on your channel, that they'll flag those videos or whatever.
Well, what happens is like they changed the rules about a year or so ago. You used to get copyright strikes, and then they changed it to copyright notices or something, claims. That's what they call it.
Right.
And so, yeah, when my channel does get monetized, those streams that have those songs in them, any monetization from replays go to the copyright owners.
Right.
So I'm quite a ways away from getting monetized. But when I do, I just probably won't do the music streams anymore. So I gotta make hay while the sun shines. I lose because I wind up playing. Somebody will request a song where one of these companies will outright block the replay of the stream.
Right.
So
yeah.
I lose a lot of replays, so that's the only downside to doing it, really, at this point, for me. But at the same time, it's allowed me to, have some fun streams and bring in people and.
Yeah, I'm sure it's easier to grow your channel because you're having, like you're playing music and you're having fun and you're making art and it's like
right.
I do music too if I didn't have a bigger plan.
No, the goal is to get as big as somebody like a bigger channel with somebody like Ethan, right? Where he doesn't care if he loses the monetization, right?
Right.
Like, he doesn't care if these people get the ad revenue because he makes his money on the super chats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's got 2,000 people watching sometimes,
Yeah, it's crazy insane.
I know. I
So
don't know.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you a couple of Ethan stories. So I was fortunate enough to see the I don't know if it was the world premiere or whatever, but it was like the New York premiere of Sin City back in the day.
Oh, okay, sure.
And incredible movie. It's so good. Very true to the book, to the comic.
Fantastic movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was dynamite. And whatchamacallit. So Frank Miller was there. It was a big crowd, but wasn't like a full theater full of people. It was like my brother got me in, and it's like I saw outside walking there. We saw Jim Lee. Said hello to Jim Lee. So there were a whole bunch of people, and before the movie started, Frank Miller got up on stage and said a few things, which was really nice. After the movie was done, there was it was in Manhattan, Union Square, so like 14th Street, like a theater in the basement. It wasn't like a real theater. It was more exclusive theater, I think. I don't know. It's been years, but anyway, right after same building, I think we went to another room, and it was like a open bar, just hangout afterwards, and so just meeting everybody there. Everybody was like comic book related, writers, artists, whatnot. So we're drinking and hanging out and gabbing and whatnot. And Ethan walks up to me and he's like, "There's Frank Miller right over there." I'm like, "Yeah, I know Frank." And he's like, "I really want to go talk to him." So I was like, "Well, go talk to him." And so he went off to talk to him. I always thought that was funny. It was like, when I talk to somebody, go talk to him. But years later, when he first began work up at DC, he messaged me on Facebook or whatever, and he was like, "Would you want to ink a commission I did?" I was like, "Sure." And he was like, "It's also because I want to see what your inks look on me, and I'm starting some work with DC." That was like his Green Lantern stuff and whatnot. He was like, "I want to get an inker for that." And so I inked the piece. It was a Robin piece. It's up on my DeviantArt. That Robin commission.
Oh,
And
cool. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he was like, I really like your work, but he pitched me at DC, but they, they didn't want me. So I was like, I appreciate it. Yeah, my career would have been way different. It's like the only thing I did at DC was Aquaman. Outside of the book, I think I did some Aquaman promotional pinup or something or another. But yeah, for all the times I've been up there and talked with editors, they wouldn't budge on giving me anything else. So I was like, screw you. And I went to Marvel and got 4 years worth of random work. But yeah, I don't know if Ethan remembers any of that, but it's like it's like I appreciate when somebody reaches out and tries to get a team up going.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not awesome that DC was stingy, but
Well, it's kind of like I was fortunate enough to break through and work from home in DC. Not everybody gets that far. It's not the career I would have wanted up there, like up at either company. But it's like I worked on some of their books, and that was great, and I was, kind of from start to the end. I worked at DC first, and then at Marvel. It was about 7 years worth of work. So I'm always happy just to be working. Now I'm trying to, more direct my career the way I want it to be. Because I really just I want to be known for working on books for a long term, and I plan to do retro for, at least 100 issues if I can. If I'm blessed enough to live that long. What were you saying?
I said no. I said that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I want to be, it's like most people know me as the inker of Aquaman. Some people know I worked on other stuff. Like, I worked on Razor and other things. But yeah, I mean, it would be better to be known for working on my own character anyway.
I 100% agree. I mean, my whole life dream was to like work for Marvel or DC, right? And I gave up on it for a long time, and then when I got back around to it, I just started seeing that you know what, independent's kind of the way to go. Not only that, but I can do my characters, you know.
Yeah, it's like I don't regret working for them. It was a good experience. I definitely like past the time when I worked for Marvel in DC. It's like I worked for independent companies and self-publishers and individuals before I worked for Marvel in DC, and afterwards, it's like, wow, these people really don't know what they're doing. It's like I was spoiled. It was like, oh, you really don't know the basics of how things are done. Okay, let me, it's like, let me tell you how I do things, and either go with that or just do your own thing.
I mean, that's great though. You have like the experience from working in both sides of the industry, really. So
Yeah, it's definitely
that
benefited me.
that's a lot of knowledge and experience that especially like um, somebody that's new like me just doesn't have, and we're fumbling. We got to fumble our way through. So when there are
Yeah,
people like you, around that have that knowledge, man, you'll find that you'll find a lot of people hitting you up for knowledge.
yeah. I think I definitely like. It seems like the first couple of years on Facebook and Twitter and whatever, like a lot more people hit me up then. Um, because it was more fresh coming off of working for them. But yeah, I get people coming to me and asking me questions, and some things I know, some things I don't know. It's like I'm not super hardcore on worrying about, like technical names, things people call certain, it's uh, like red, like blue line, technically this is blue line, even though it's red. It's like I call it red line, and I'm not sure if some people know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
We got so many new comments. Hold on a second. Let's see. I usually Google search the book name and Indigo. Oh, okay. Amanda B talking about how she finds stuff, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Then we got Beowar Indigo brings you campaign. Yes. There's that link symbol on the Indiegogo page, right? Yeah, like any site you go to has an individual sort of symbol. Facebook has the F, Twitter has the T, blah, blah, blah. Some people keep link sheets handy. I'm 99% on my phone, searching on the go. Yeah, it's one of the things I want to do is build a list of Facebook groups. Because it's great to share your stuff out to Facebook groups, and I know some of my friends must have their own lists, because I see some artists like sharing out to like 100 groups, like literally over 100 groups.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
and that's how their videos get crazy numbers. It's like, and every time I try to build a list, it's like, I don't have time for this. But it would benefit.
I quit Facebook several years ago because I wasn't drawing at that point, so I wasn't like trying to promote anything.
Right.
But I just got off from it because I told my friends and family, I was like, I come to Facebook to catch up with you guys. I don't come here to argue about politics or religion with my family and friends.
Right.
We can wait for Thanksgiving for that.
The holidays are for. Yeah.
So, but that's one I really need to get back on Facebook. Just create a
it's like initially Facebook was initially just to connect with friends and family.
Yeah.
And I got on Facebook when it was first opened up to the public. Because there was a girl I knew, and she was in college, and she's like, I'm on this thing called Facebook. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? What is Facebook? And it was like a month later or something, it opened to the public, and I was like, I'm on it.
I apologize. I live in the city. It's very loud.
No worries. But yeah, it's like I watched what was it? The Network. What was the Facebook movie? The Social Network.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It's like, oh, so that's what was going on while I had no clue about what they were doing. It's kind of interesting.
Did you have a MySpace?
I had a MySpace. I actually got on MySpace not under my name. That was the only time online that I wasn't Peter Palmiotti. I got on it, and my name was Peter Pop, which is funny because some people know me from my MySpace days and call me Peter Pop. Welcome, Caroline.
Hey, Caroline. I liked MySpace.
I'm way behind comments. Yeah, MySpace was, it was really like my training grounds with the internet. I was technically online. Let's see, where would this have been? Late 70s, early 80s. Like I was on it wasn't the World Wide Web, or it was just message boards.
Oh, okay.
Years and years and years ago. Like I remember being at home, being on a message board, like sort of instant messaging my friend back and forth. And my father came into the room and looked over my shoulder and started reading what we were communicating. And it was just all bullshit and fuck this and fuck that and whatever. And he was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, nothing. But yeah, I mean, if I would have stuck with, like computers and internet, I probably would have been one of those, millionaires. But it's like it was a passing fad at the moment. It's like I was sort of a gamer and sort of a pirate back then. So there's a lot of chat about the how they copy things and whatnot. Caroline says, "I just learned something. Thanks, Amanda. I also learned I copied a lot of rubbish." Yeah, lots of people in the chat saying hello and thank you and whatnots. Yeah, it's like you don't know what you want to do. Like I didn't know I wanted to do comics for sure until like my little story that I tell everywhere. I was up in Mall for 10 minutes. Like that's all it took. Because I drew all my life. I was into comics when I was young, and my father took me and Jimmy to a couple of conventions. One shitty one in Brooklyn, then later one of the big ones in Manhattan. I loved comics, and but you go in and out of things sometimes, and as I got maybe later in high school, maybe it was while I was in college, I got into writing more. I got into reading novels. I got into playing around with computers then. So I got less into drawing and less into reading comics for a span of time. And through my 20s, I was, I was partying. I was running around Manhattan, getting into trouble, girls, whatnot. I really didn't know. I didn't, it's like part of that sort of the lost years. I didn't think I would commit to anything in my life that hard. But it took me that long. I was 28 when I got into comics. Doing this professionally. And before that, it was like, well, it's like I like this and I like that, and art is great, but it's precious. I don't think I could do it for a living. Blah blah blah. You have your strange perspectives on things. But when I did decide, like it literally took me 10 minutes. I was like, yes, I want to do this for a living. I committed to it hard. I worked 7 days a week. You know, even when I didn't have paying work, I would be training. You know, I would be reading comics. I'd be copying from comics. I'd be drawing. I'd be practicing my inking. I was inking for my brother, who was an inker at the time, but also a couple of other inkers. So I was like 24/7 in it, you know, working days and nights through the night, hardcore. And it blew my mind because it was like, you know, didn't have a clue before that. It's like I worked a day job. I'm a good follower. Like, you tell me what to do, I'll get it done. Hard worker, blah blah blah. But as far as like directing my own course, it's like I didn't have a clue. I mean, in many ways, I still don't. But you know, I just wake up and do stuff.
That's kind of the way I am almost all the time. I mean, I try to be a little bit more organized about things, but
Yeah.
it's not necessarily my strong suit. I have to kind of work at it. So
Yeah, the smart thing to do is build up systems. Like, you know, like we're all, you know, making art, writing stories, working on our own projects, working for other people. Um, it's good to be focused. It's good to be, you know, like have systems in place. Like, because you could have a crappy morning and decide you don't want to work that day. But like, if work needs to be done, then you know you need to have a system where you're essentially slapping yourself in the face and saying, "No, I got to get to my desk and work."
right.
Because there's no outside motivation. Like, yeah, you want to make money. Yes, you want to pay your overhead, but there's nothing right in front of your face reminding you every second. You really
You're only accountable to yourself. Really,
yeah.
You know.
And that's the hardest lesson. That's something you got to retrain yourself over and over again. You know, to just like, no, I got to do this. This is what I want. This, you know, you got to remind yourself. I love this shit, and for me to make it work, I got to do all this extra work. But you know, it's like we got it made, man. It's like, you know, there's shit jobs out there that I wouldn't even consider doing. You know, like in many ways, it's like a lot of people who do comics can make a better living working at McDonald's, you know, and that's the truth of it. But you know, you really have to love what you do. It's like there's plenty of actors that, you know, are starving, but they love what they do, and so they, you know, they take shit jobs at you know, and B movies and whatever, like straight to cable. Yeah, you just sort of have to make that leap in your brain. Like, this is what I'm going for. Have a sort of plan. You know, I always thought, like, I have like an ultimate plan, which, you know, if it works out, that would be amazing. But if it doesn't, it's still like a motivator. Like, it's my secret little plan. Like, you know, if I make it big and make it a, you know, a pool size thing full of money, then I'm going to build a 5-floor office building, and that will be my studio.
Right.
You know, like a crazy, insane plan. Like, and it could happen. It could still happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a friend not too long ago ask me, it's like, okay, so because it was one of the times when the Powerball was really up there, and they were like, so you win this Powerball, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, uh, I'm just gonna buy a bunch of houses for family, and then I'm just gonna spend the rest of my days making comics, publishing comics, making my own comics, publishing other people. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. That's my dream. I mean, you give me enough money, I'm gonna fund it to the hilt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like in many ways, it's really focused in CG, like that these creators want to make the best books possible, and they go above and beyond in their campaigns. Not this guy here, not nefarious.
Not
He's lazy.
nefarious.
Yeah, he's lazy. He doesn't do research. His campaign was tiny. No, I'm kidding. No, it's really true. It's like these guys, like they want to one up each other. They want to do all this, action figures and what is it, like 3D printed stuff and animation within their videos and all these extras, all this merchandise and amazing stuff. And it's like it's above and beyond the book, but it's like the whole marketing plan of any like company out there. Like they want to, any company out there wants to have the comic, wants to have, the video game, wants to have the plushie and the action figure, and like on and on and on and on and on. There's amazing extras that these guys are producing and high quality, and I hope to get there myself. It's like initially I just want to get my book finished and put that out there and get it out to everybody. And that's what I'm focused on. I want the book to be quality from top to bottom, the writing, the art, the coloring, the lettering, like all the extras in the back of the comic that make it special to me. Like I've seen so many independent comics that were like, it's an actual 24-page printed comic, and it's just, you open it up and it's the story and that's it, and there's nothing else to the comic. It's like, that's pretty lame. And Nefarious, he admits it. He's 100%. I'm all about that low effort. But yeah, it's like I grew up on a number of independent comics from the 70s, 80s that really, they put extra content in the back of the book. And that to me was always, that's what made comics an event for me.
Yes. Yes.
And I realized like today's a different world, and there's the digital version of a comic, and that's great for international people who don't want to pay $60 for shipping. But I want the printed comic to be, yes, you're here for the story, you're here for the art, but I want to give you all this back, entertainment as well. I love editorials by creators. I love, reading a letters page. I love seeing extra art and behind the scenes stuff, fan art, everything like that you can. And it's not fluff. That to me is also the experience. I've always read comics from cover to cover, and if it had 8 pages of letters page, I'd read that too. Like the Savage Dragon, like, is insane with how many letters he puts in the back of those books. And I want to do all that plus the merchandising, plus I would love an animated series, even if it's like a 6-minute animation episode for retro. Like, that would be amazing.
That was, I have to say, like, one of the things that helped me get to the decision that yeah, you know what, I'd like to draw a book, was the way Ethan went about things, and was like, yeah, I know this is, you got to give the comic fan the red carpet experience. He's like, that's what I want people to feel like, that it's an event. That they're opening the book, and they're maybe waited a while for the movie to come out, but here the movie's here. It's opening night. There's all this festivity and stuff going on, and that's, you hope that that's how people kind of react to your book, and to what you're bringing to them.
Yeah.
And that's why when I was like, when I created Beowar, I was like, what can I do at my level, right, that could kind of do this? And I was like, I don't want to just print it like a regular comic book. I want to, what I can do at my level is I can print it just slightly bigger in that magazine format, like the Savage Sword of Conan magazines. And that was part of my joy as a young comic fan, was getting those Savage Sword of Conan magazines with, and like you said, there was all this extra stuff. You had the stories, but then there were pages of pin-up art and gallery sections. And they'd have like maybe some like background on Robert E. Howard, stuff like that, right? Always some cool stuff in those. And so
they showed they showed John Buscema pencils, like they had letters pages in the Savage Sword. Lots of fun stuff. I watched a documentary or whatever the hell it was on Jeff Bezos on building Amazon, and it's like everything he's saying, a lot of the people say very similar things about making comics in CG. So they kind of got the same mindset. It's like, customers first. You want to, and you want to excel in how you present it to them, and what the care you put into it, and and that's everything. It's like, it's like cater to the customer, and then the customer is going to stick around and also tell his friends.
Absolutely.
And really, like, when it comes down to it, if your story is okay and your art is okay, it's still potentially a great book, because everybody learns as we go. And So by issue 2, by issue 3, by issue 5, like it will be phenomenal. You know, you just gotta, you know, like the main thing in the comics game is not just to put out one book, but just to keep following it up and keep making a name for yourself and keep improving.
Right.
You know, I knew initially getting into this industry that I sucked as an inker, but that's what I chose as sort of my gateway door in. But I knew just, you know, working on it, I'll get better. And I think it was last year I got better. No. Finally, after all this time. Well, let me say I appreciate everybody watching. This is a big crowd. It's always a big crowd when Vic shows up.
We've got a wonderful community out there, and yeah, I got some. I don't want to say that they're not. They follow the spirit of what's going on here in the indie scene, you know.
Right.
And so when they see a fun stuff like this going on, they're there, you know, and they're supportive, and they're amazing, you know. That's something that I don't have like a huge audience like some of these artists and stuff, even within CG, you know, like even in the lower ends of CG. But when I put on my camera and start up the stream, and you know, within 10 minutes I've got 15 people watching me. You've seen how long I stream for, Peter. I stream for like 10 hours. And
Yeah.
some of these people are there with me from the minute I start streaming till it's like, what? It's very humbling, you know?
Shadowhawk gets it right. Oh, knock it off, Rick. Oh, I missed a comment earlier. Let's see if I can find it. It's weird how chat keeps popping up and down, like when I try to click on things, and I lose track of where I am. So Apex was saying earlier. Oh, did it click on? Click. I learned to draw comics from daily strips in the newspaper. Then I collected comics since I was 8, 12 comics every 6 months from my step grandmother's convenience store in Coleman, Texas. Yeah, I mean, you know, even though I saw comics when I was very young, they were like, what is it? Archie comics and Richard Rich comics that were in my local barbershop.
Right.
I became aware of like Marvel and DC and everything else when I got just a little older.
Right.
But yeah, like my father brought home 3, 4, sometimes 5 different newspapers, and every one of them had daily strips in them, and I consumed that stuff big time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like so many different art styles and so many different adventures with different type characters.
Yep.
You know, what's not to get into.
Oh, I mean, I enjoyed all of that stuff, like the Phantom,
Beetle Valley.
what was
Hagar.
Hagar, yeah. The Spider-Man.
Spider-Man was very good.
Yeah, Ivanhoe.
I don't think I knew Ivanhoe. Dick Tracy was a big one for me. Peanuts.
Was it Prince Valiant was another one too.
Prince Valiant. I'm not sure. Like, I think that was in some. I seem to remember Prince Valiant when I was more like in Jersey during the summers for some reason. Like, I don't think New York papers were printing this Prince Valiant at around the time that I was, younger or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, definitely Prince Valiant was excellent stuff. I just saw it later. There were just tons of strips, and I read, from top to bottom. Like, I don't care if I was into it. It's like I consumed it.
My dad used to get he'd get the Detroit Free Press every Sunday, and they had the biggest comic section that I'd ever seen, and I haven't seen one bigger since. And it was just pages and pages of all these different strips. Like, I'd say it was at least three pages worth of comic strips.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal. I mean, like, I used to admire like how crisp and neat the art was, even on strips that I would never bother reading, like Mazzy Star, But it was like, wow, look, that woman is drawn beautifully,
Yeah, there was some like romance strips and whatever. It's like, yeah, the art's interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, when I was real little, like the only comic books I saw were like you were saying, like I know my grandmother would always get us kids. She would get us like the Looney Tunes and
Right.
Disney. So I mean, that's what I thought cartoons were until one day I was at or comic books were until one day I was at the library, and they had all these old comic books over in this one section, and I sat down and I just started looking through stuff, and I found a comic book that really struck me. Right, it was Ghost Rider, and I picked it up, and it had to have been a reprinting, but it was the origin story, right?
Right.
And I sat there and I was reading it, and my mother was like, we gotta go. And I was like, I wasn't going to leave. And the lady came over, she was like, those are all old comic books. You can take that with you. You can have it. And she was like, you can take a couple more. And I was like, like 5 or 6. I was so happy that day. I was the happiest kid ever.
Nice. My father, he co-owned a paint store, like House Paints, in Upper Manhattan back in the day, and he'd always have a couple of stories, like somebody, like he needed another van for the store, and he went to go buy a van, and he bought it, and then he looked in the back, and there were boxes and boxes of comics. So he brought those home and gave them to me and Jimmy. I have 3 older brothers. Jimmy's the next one up, and then I have 2 older brothers beyond Jimmy. But me and Jimmy were mostly into the comics, and they were into other things. But yeah, so like, yeah, free comics from Dad. It's like, yeah, they dropped out of the van.
Nice. It's funny how these like seemingly uneventful, like, or it might seem uneventful to some, you know, but really turn around and shape like where you're headed, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're in comics, then you'll have people walking up to you and telling you, "Oh, it's like I had a whole basement full of comics, and then got flooded, and I lost all of them." Everybody has like a comic book story of some sort. What I hate hearing is, "I got an idea for a comic. You should do it." It's like, I don't need ideas. It's like I can fall out of bed and have an idea.
Right.
What I need is work getting done. It's not the hardest thing about making comics is not coming up with another idea.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty easy to. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people it's not, but I mean, to me, I could just sit there and I could think of something that would make a great comic book.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to say that every idea is perfect and excellent and you should do everything, but
they are in our heads at the moment, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, this would totally rock.
It's like almost a day doesn't go by and I should do this or that or the other thing, or it's like, no, you should just finish the shit you got started. That's what you should do. Yeah, so many people saying hello to everybody. Yeah, Margot's got a comment. Said, my friend and I created characters last week for a comic. They were all very rude. We had a hilarious afternoon. That's awesome. Yeah, it's like ideas or things you want to try. It's like, romance comics used to be huge, like a big thing, like almost like Western comics back in the day, or war comics or whatever. And it's like, I'd love to do a romance comic, but rationally, I don't have the time right now, and I can't even think about it.
I've seen a couple people try some Western comics.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple attempts at some war comics. Not too many of those, though. And that's, to me, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a shame. I'd love if somebody was doing like a really good war comic right now,
Yeah, there's probably somebody out there doing one. Like World War II really had a lot of people doing war comics, but then Vietnam War happened, and it's like, it's embarrassing. Don't want to do a comic about that. There's, like at least with World War II, there's patriotism, and you know, red, white, and blue, and
There was no negativity, right?
yeah, we're the heroes here, and there's a clear villain, blah blah blah, and the whole world is with us. And with Vietnam, it's like, oh man, it's a fucked up situation.
And then we had the Nam in the 80s. That was really good.
I don't know if I ever read an issue. I must have read one or two, but that was Mike Golden, and he's phenomenal. He's really, really good. In many ways, he's he's the inspiration for Jim Lee and Mark Silvestri and Rob Liefeld. Like, artistically speaking, he was doing things that they were swiping. Yeah, he laid a lot of groundwork on style.
He totally did.
I loved his Micronauts.
I did too.
That was so good. I could go back and look at that one day. Maybe even read the first year of it or whatever.
Sometimes it's hard to find the time to do these things, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always like, I want to go back and reread Walter Simonson's entire run on Thor.
Yeah.
And I just, when am I going to have the time?
Yeah. I mean, I'm right now currently in a phase where I'm forcing myself to read every day. I used to read novels all the time back when I was in New York, because every day I'd be traveling and spend at least 2 hours on the train. So I had at least 2 hours of reading. Now it's like, it's like, even if I'm home all day, it's like, well, I should be working, So I really got into that, out of the habit of reading all the time. But now, yeah, you just got to make a point of it. It's like, I don't have to do this for hours, just half hour here, half hour there. Eventually I'll read through a novel. It's just good for the brain. I sleep better at night somehow, like really getting into novels, really getting into stories. My stuff, my brain matter becomes less important, and
Right.
start thinking about the characters in the story. Whether consciously or unconsciously, it's like, it takes up some of your brain power.
This is a good idea. I read a lot before I started drawing again. I was reading. Of course, I read all of the Game of Thrones.
I have to read those.
And I had a couple of these they were smaller novels, but they were like series. One was like the Iron Druid was one of them. And it was such a good series. I was like, oh, this would be this would be either a fantastic movie or a fantastic comic book. And I've always been like kept keeping my eye out to see, you know, if anybody's turning any of these things into those kind of properties. I haven't seen them yet, but
Right.
uh,
Yeah, if there's an audience for it, you know, like
yeah,
I'm sure there's people that would jump at the chance to check it out. I was before I got into reading books myself. Like when I was still in grade school, um, my parents bought me a couple of different things, books wise. One was the thin hardcover editions of the Hardy Boys.
oh, okay. Yeah.
And those were good, like easy read, but
Yep.
also they were pretty, so they were collectible. It's like I had them on my shelf, and so before I collected comics, I was like, yeah, I'm collecting Hardy Boy books. But they also got me when I guess when I was younger, and they must have ordered it through maybe some newspaper thing or magazine thing, whatever. But they got a book, and it was specially designed for kids. So they probably filled out a form, with my name and age and interest and blah blah blah, and then the people who created the book would fill out certain information. They would print out the rest within the book. So like I'd be reading the book, and it referred to a character called Retep, and Retep was my name backwards, and he had a friend named Peter, and blah blah blah. It's like, and they like going out to streams and hang out with their friends, and like whatever my interests were in the book, and like different things, and talked about me at some points, and it was really cute. It was for young kids. So it was like there should definitely be like a comic book version of that. Like somebody would make a killing. We can have the comic sort of 90% done, and then you make it individually specific to a certain person. So you could be reading a sort of Conan story, and Conan goes, "Yeah, my old friend Vic, he used to hang out and killing bad guys and hang out with the bitches and whatever."
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. That was the thing. Like, you make connections with these characters. Um, especially if the storytelling is really good. There's nothing better than comics as far as that goes. Like making a connection.
Yeah.
Like I know for my brother was Batman, right? Like he really connected. He was everything Batman. I like Batman. I love Batman. But for me, it was that Walter Simonson run on Thor. I mean, I'd get in there and I'd feel like I just stepped right into that world, right into that storyline, right into that story arc. And of course, I definitely connected with Thor. He was very much like me. So.
So You're very much like Thor. You got long blonde hair. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. Though I'm probably actually more. I'm probably more like the actual mythology version of Thor.
You're probably like
Ruckus troublemaker.
more like the game Thor, right? Thor is just a dude, just hanging out playing video games with his friends.
Yep. Well, that's exactly how they made it in the movies recently, isn't it? Oh, that broke my heart, man. Oh, what are you doing? Fuck, only Thor. Come on.
It goes against the character in the comics, yes, but I don't know. Like, I guess being so into these films, and after a time, it's like it's like if they don't get a character 100% correct, I don't really care at this point. Like,
Yeah.
I care more about my characters. Why should I waste energy on somebody else's characters?
And it's not like a definitive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a version of the character. You know.
Yeah. And like every time you see these characters, they got different outfits because the company wants to make money off of different action figures and everything else.
Yeah.
It's like everything they do is for the company to make more money. Like,
yes, it's all marketing.
They're not going to do like a Sin City type movie with their characters. It's not going to be definitively, this storyline, exactly how these characters were, blah, 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 this and that. They're always going to make a difference so that you watch their version, as opposed to like you don't want the. I mean, we do want the true Phoenix Saga in movie form, but they'll never do it. They'll never do it right. They'll never do it even anywhere close to it. What was in the comic, because what happened in the comic happened over many, many, many issues. Chris Claremont is a genius. He laid out, tidbits of that story throughout the years. So there's no way to, like grab it and do it in movie form. It would be better as a series.
Every now and then they mess up. Well, it hasn't been for a while, but in the beginning they messed up and they gave us like these perfect versions, like Captain America, the first Avenger. That was like, what? Iron Man 1 was like, you could not ask for more perfect movie versions of these characters.
Yeah.
Thor was good. I don't think it was quite on the same level as Iron Man, but it was good. Thor 2 let me down.
Yeah.
So.
I like part 2, but that's me. But yeah, I thought the first Thor was really good, and like fans didn't like it as much or whatever. Like, it's a little to get into because Thor doesn't speak English, and
Thor's a hard character.
Yeah, I mean,
to sell to normies,
It was very true to the character, and yet it added all this other stuff that wasn't exactly what it was in the comics. And it's like, oh, there's Jane, but she's a scientist and she has a girlfriend or assistant, whatever. Like, there's always there's a lot of difference in the movie than the comic, but I thought they did a good job, and definitely like I was excited about seeing what's the character's name, just the metal suit with energy in it.
Oh, the Destroyer.
Destroyer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was fantastic in the movie. Like
that was badass. That was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hemsworth cast as Thor. Couldn't ask for a better casting than that.
Yeah.
That was as good a casting for a character as Robert Downey Jr. for Tony Stark. You know.
And yeah, absolutely. And Chris Evans as Captain America. Like,
yeah,
you know, Chris Evans did superheroes before Captain America, and they flopped.
Well, the first Fantastic Four movie did pretty good.
Yeah,
the second one was a flop. But
yeah, well, yeah, with the stupid Galactus smoke or cloud or something.
That was so bad. But I did like him as Johnny Storm in the first movie.
Yeah,
and I think because I liked him so much as Johnny Storm in the first movie, Fantastic Four movie, when I was withholding my approval until I watched the whole movie. Because I was like, this guy, he can't play Captain America. No.
You're right. But
he did great.
Clearly,
he
became Captain America. Like, he was excellent choice.
Yeah, he owned that shit. It was so good.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever saw The Losers, which was a DC comic that became a movie.
No.
Had Negan was in it. Dean.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Also, one of the Guardians, the green girl. However you pronounce her name, I'm forgetting at the moment. But yeah, it had a really interesting cast. I thought it was a great movie, but nobody knows the Losers comic, and it didn't go anywhere. But it could have been something. But I thought Chris Evans in that was really good too.
I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie. It's like, not necessarily a superhero team, but a team that was a comic. So let's see. Okay. So a bunch of comments. Okay, let me go and share some of this. From what Margot was saying, what I mentioned earlier, Fanta goes, Margot, if it's who I think it is, I bet it was a blast. And she says, yes. Apex was saying earlier, I'm roughing out layout pages for my Fembot sentimental of how she is dealing with her newfound vampirism. Cool. Apex was showing off his Fembat character, and I really liked the design of it. And I told him I was going to do a drawing of Fembat.
Fembat is fun to draw. Drawn it twice. He's a lot of fun.
Margaret says, I read the Beano and the Dandy British comics when I was young. They were my brothers. Yeah, and I don't think I ever seen those comics. There's definitely like, U.S. comics in England, like kids over there were, it's hard to find American comics, and I guess British comics were hard to find here because I never heard of that. Apex goes, oh yeah, Margot, the Olivia Del Rey, before she was fembat, woke up with a vampire bite, discovered that sunlight was not her friend. Caroline says, my computer is so slow. Okay, click. The response, like I click on it and the response time is so slow. My nan used to buy us a comic every Saturday, and I kept that going for my own children. Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, every kid should read some good comics. I mean, reading is good for kids. It's like get them into reading however you can. And comics is, definitely worked for me and my brother. I still have my Rupert the Bear one from the 70s. Awesome. Well, technically, my mom has it. I can't be trusted not to lose it. Oh, Margot says, my new avatar is some of my son's artwork. I also changed my Twitter. Oh, I'll have to take a closer look. Awesome. And imagine Conan trying to play a video game. We'll have a sword through the TV screen. Yep. And Margot says, Thor 2 was terrible. Apex was going on about Chris Claremont and John Byrne created a comic book masterpiece with Dark Phoenix Saga.
Yeah, they did.
Get the right people on it, and it could be a great TV miniseries. Yeah, I mean, potential is there. There's the storyline, but there's also a lot of different threads that also make it a better story. Because I think why the Dark Phoenix Saga works so well is if you were reading the series on a regular basis, which I was, it comes out of left field in a good way. It's it's not like here's one of our characters who suddenly goes dark and has all this power. Like, there's a lot more to it than just that. And Caroline, times changed. They needed to appeal to newer generations, I guess. Yeah. That's always the thing. Somebody was saying, like, Marvel and DC, like, the way their comics are written now is because they're trying to appeal to the generation now. That's probably so, but you get appealed by the new generation, but still be true to everything before.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Not my mom. And Margot goes, Caroline, I wish they would create their own new characters and leave ours alone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Torch, yeah. The Human Torch.
They didn't
Apex
like
said,
being called that though. Oh, I mean, before the creators came into CG was just consumers just saying, look, we don't, you want to do all these things, and that's fine. Just create new characters to do it with. Just don't mess with our, our beloved characters that we like the way they are.
yeah. I mean, like one of the things Marvel specifically does, and DC has done it as well, but like they take characters like Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America, and they do a slight variation of them and sort of create another character that's the same but different. I've lost track of how many Spider-Men or Spider-Women variations there are now. I lost track of how many, like there was Captain America, then there's Nomad, then there's Falcon as Captain America, and there was a Black Captain America. It's like you're watering down
Captain
the
America.
character. Yeah. You just watering down, like, it's not as exciting. There should be only one. But yeah. Apex got it right. He said this is the best show on YouTube right now.
Oh, absolutely.
If you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't.
Share it
I'm
out
2
on
away
Twitter.
from 1,100 right now. Subscribers. Yeah, share it out on Twitter, on Facebook, and Instagram, whatever. Like, tell all your friends. Caroline, I am 100% agree with that, Margot, and I don't think they have imagination nowadays. Yeah. It's all taste and whatnot, and it's like I've gone on a couple of times where, I could see a way where they can correct their path and be true for all fans. Like put out good books and get powerful writer creator, like writer artist teams on the books. But they're big companies, and while people working for them have the best intentions, it comes down to what will make them money. And so they'll do the next X-Men miniseries and start out with a #1 that they'll push, and then a year later they'll restart it. So it has another new #1.
Yeah.
But it's the same old garbage.
It's almost like they don't want to take the risk on developing long-term art, or creative teams.
I mean, obviously part of that was like
Image.
Everybody's experience with Image. They had all the artists walk out because they were rock stars. But what they don't realize is they really need to make these writers and artists rock stars.
Yeah,
because they can sell more books. They're shooting themselves in the foot. So Tohilfer, however you pronounce that, says Jock's art on the Losers comics is really great. Yeah, Jock is great.
Oh, simple. I know that comic. Yeah. Jock. I know. Yeah.
That's Jock. Deep, right? Jock he's very simple, but he's bold. And that's who I was trying to think of before. It was Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Was with Chris Evans on the Losers.
Okay, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely got to check that out. You said the
And
movie was
Margot.
good.
Yeah, it was good. Definitely worth seeing. Margot goes, I think they have no imagination because everything is a video game or on the internet now. I had to entertain myself, climbing trees,
Well,
tire
I think
swing tire swings and drawing.
I
Yeah, I
think
mean, when I was a kid, I used to climb trees and just play in the mud. Like before the internet and video games.
right.
What did kids have to do? Like go outside. Parents always used to say, "Go outside, get some sun, play with your friends, get out of the house," or in other words, leave us alone.
I think one of the things too is that the quality of what they can do with computerized art, right? Computer
Yeah,
generated art and stuff, which is fantastic. I'm not saying it shouldn't exist or anything like that, but I think it is. I don't want to say dumbed down, uh, but I think it's robbed maybe some young artists of ambition, because if they're not into, like, if they're not doing that particular aspect where they're learning the computer programming to make these computer generated 3D figures for like gaming and stuff like that, right?
right,
um they're looking at this stuff and it's so perfect. So I mean, some of the stuff is like photographs, right?
right.
um I think I think that might be part of the problem, is that there's a lot of young artists that are getting into the business, but they don't really have the confidence um, in their abilities to make truly great stuff, right?
Are you saying like, excuse me, like because of computer graphics and the fact that you can do graphics and make it look almost 100% realistic, that it's like, well, my doodles look nothing like that, so I'm not even going to try.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to take a short break, but you can take over the show. What I'm going to do is I'm just
Sure.
going to say this comment really quick, and then I'll catch up on the chat when I get back. But Margot said, I think they have no imagination because everything is. Yeah, I already said that. Okay. Anyway. I'll get to the rest of the comics when I get back. I'm going to take a pee and get coffee, and yeah, I'll be gone for 5 minutes, so I'll see you again shortly. Say whatever you want.
Sure.
It's up to you.
All right. Cool. So let's see. Apex says he just shared out this broadcast. Hail, Apex. Thank you, brother. Uh, Apex also says editors and writers who currently work for Marvel and DC spend too much time on Twitter to create anything good. That could be possibly definitely part of it. I think more so a couple years ago, it just seemed like everybody wanted to fight everybody on Twitter, especially Twitter. Keith Smith. Hey, Keith Smith. Nice to see you. Says, nice to see you working, Pete. Miss you, dude. I'll make sure he catches up with that when he gets back, so he knows you're here. Shadowhawk says, Werewolf by Night was actually pretty okay. Not great, but way better than anything lately, which is good. That's good to hear. Everybody saying hi to Keith. All right. Werewolf by Night was fun to watch. It's not going to be top film of the century. No. Sometimes you just need, there's the joy of popcorn movies. Remember popcorn movies? creature double feature, things like that. You just not the greatest, especially this time of year. I mean, I love watching cheesy horror movies this time of year. The sometimes the worse the better. And it's just fun. Just a little bit of fun escapism. Nothing light. I mean, all light, nothing too heavy. Keith Smith says, I was Pete's apprentice and friend when we were in New York. Oh, that's awesome. Nice to meet you, Keith Smith. Pete's inking one of my pencil pieces right now for my campaign called Beowar. The link is pinned to the top there. But yeah, we're going to make this a variant cover for my book. I'm totally stoked. I'm new to this whole thing, and to have Pete be inking a piece for me, and just getting to know him and hang out with him, man, this has been great. Keith says, loved creature double feature, so much cheese. There really was. In fact, I think there was a cheese monster in one of them. Margot says, I'm watching The Witcher again. Yeah, the first season was great. The second season was okay. There was a distinct mood difference with the second season of Witcher. But I really enjoyed the first season. I thought it was done very well. I know some of the people who are, big fans of the game and big fans of the book, weren't happy with everything, but, not everything can be perfect. Pete's the best and one of the finest intersection I've ever worked with. All right. Inkers. One of the best inkers. I know. Look, autocorrect is one of the worst things, man. Either that or text to speech. They're horrible. It's horrible. We used to watch too? My family, I don't know if any of you guys ever did this, but my family would do, because I think it was Friday nights. Friday nights was Elvira night. And my family would go out and they would buy Totino's pizza rolls, and they'd buy a couple of these other things and French fries. They just cook up all these crafty snack foods. And we'd sit there and we'd watch Elvira, and she'd play like one or two movies. I remember, I think the first one I ever saw, I was a real little kid too. The first one I ever saw, though, it stuck with me, was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And I think that started me on my love of like really cheesy stuff. Hey, Fanta, how you doing? Keith Smith says, autocorrect is my nemesis. Yeah, your friend Keith Smith is popped in to say
I see. My old New York buddy. Good to see you, man. What you been up to? Miss you, man. Yeah, we're Facebook friends, but I actually haven't spoke to him lately. Got to catch up.
Very cool.
Apprentice. Yeah. Yeah, I had a couple of assistants when I was on Aquaman, mostly. I'm very, very, very insistent on every inch of everything I work on, like very anal about everything. So the idea of having assistants was something I didn't want to get into, but like working on Aquaman, became a monthly thing after a while. And I was working If there was 31 days in a month, I was working 31 days on a book.
Oh, wow.
So I had to get some assistance, and Keith was one of the good ones. One of the not so good ones was Rich Parada, who became better after the fact. I had him do some stuff for a little while, but yeah, it's always great to see your assistants or people you've worked with go on to bigger and better things. And he's got it right. Pete's the best.
Cool.
Autocorrect is my nemesis. Yes. One of the finest intersections I ever worked with.
I read it just like that too.
Well, when I was working with the CIA, I was an intersection.
Yeah, Keith, that's exactly like what we were saying just a couple of minutes ago. He says that he's working, writing, he's dropped social media because it's toxic. And that's kind of like what we were saying just a couple of minutes ago when I was talking with the chat. It was just like, it just seemed like somebody said that the writers and the editorial are too busy on Twitter and everything. I said, wait a minute, probably definitely a couple of years ago, everybody's, especially on Twitter, everybody was fighting everybody. It was ridiculous. And I think people are moving away from that, which is good to see. Myself included. I got into. I spent way too much time on Twitter, fighting and yelling with people over a keyboard over nothing.
I had maybe, like my experiences, I was on MySpace, so I was on pretty early days, and I had a couple of experiences that, people read things miscorrectly and like took things out of proportion.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Because of that, I'm like less likely to get into real conversations, because things get out of whack really easily. Like, I just try to be nice and try to be funny at times, but keep it light. And like, we're all here to have a good time. We're all here to, like, get to know each other and make new friends. And like, I'm not part of that, bashing this or that, or getting upset about, certain people or whatever. Like, all that, I don't have time for that.
No, not at all. I moved away from all of that because I was like, you know what? That's not gonna help me get work done. It's not gonna help me push my art. Nobody wants to be following somebody who's fighting all day versus drawing. So
Yeah.
Not only that, but it's just that's not the world I want to build either. Bring people together. Do it if you can do it with your art. That's even better.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith says, we are introducing my kids to Universal Monster movies to show them what Werewolf by Night was based on. Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Like, Werewolf by Night, it's a fun little thing. And, it's a one shot. They might do more, they might not, whatever. But yeah, it's very inspired by the old 50s, 60s horror movies with monsters and all that stuff. It's all fun stuff. Landon's here. Hey, Landon. Hey, Peter, how's it going? I'm selling t-shirts on Etsy now. Cool, man. Drop a link if you want. I think you got a wrench. And Keith says, yeah, me too. Like I thought I could change minds and hearts. So
You ain't changing nothing on Twitter. That was the lesson I learned.
And I'm just going to say Topher. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He says, thanks for the hangout. Just awesome. Appreciate it.
Topher.
Appreciate it. So I'm going to do this. So I've been making lines on this piece. I haven't got a lot done, but it's like my process is slow, and what I'm doing is like every line is me sort of getting familiar with the piece as a whole, and as well as the individual characters on it. And I'm thinking towards what, the final look will be.
Right.
As well as like, since I'm working on a new artist here, I'm working on Vic, who I never worked on before. So getting familiar with his work as well. I really won't get nitty gritty until I get all the characters framed up.
Right.
And whatnot. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing and feel confident about what I've done so far. And this is going to be badass. So you should definitely go buy a copy, because this will be an exclusive cover.
A very exclusive cover. In fact, when I put it up, I will probably only put it up for a limited period of time.
So,
yeah.
Yes, make sure to pledge and share his campaign. The link is in the top of the chat. But also, if somebody can share out Vic's YouTube channel, share the link to that. People should go subscribe to his channel so he gets over 1,000 subscribers. So then he'll be playing less music but drawing more.
Absolutely. I love the I love the way you got the tentacle stuff moving and everything.
Nice. Yeah, I've done some tentacles before. Especially working on Aquaman. It's important to get your tentacles just right.
Margot says, if I purchase another with this variant, do I get to save on shipping? Yeah, you know what, Margot? This is what I'm gonna do, because I got so many people over in England, right? And I mean, as with any campaign goes, you wind up adding stuff as time goes, right? I'm trying to think of how to do that, because they charge you automatically the shipping.
What you can do, here's a suggestion. You can take it or not or whatever, but
yeah,
what you can do if you have a lot of international orders, because when I did my campaign, I came up with different shipping rates for US and Canada and England and maybe, I don't know, Australia, like a couple of different ones. I was like, if I have an immense amount of orders from England, then maybe what I'll do is ship a bunch of books to somebody out there and let them ship it locally. So they won't be paying $60 for shipping.
Right. The problem, and that's a great idea. The problem is the way things are set up on Indiegogo. Is that when you set up a perk, a tier, you set the price for the shipping. So she's already ordered a book. Right. And so she doesn't want to get charged twice for shipping. You know what I'm saying?
Can you do add-ons on Indiegogo, right? You can do that, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I have to get somebody to teach me how to do it because I tried to do it and it wouldn't let me.
Talk to Joe Sonntag because he's done really good on his campaign and he's pretty reachable. He did Reaper Destroyer.
Reaper Destroyer is very nice. I know Joe a little bit. I know him a little bit. I don't know him great, but he's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. Margot dropped the link to Vic's channel, so
Margot, you're wonderful.
Yeah, make sure you go subscribe to Vic's channel. Let's get him up to 1,000 subscribers so people can start throwing him super chats.
Oh, that would be awesome. I'm not gonna lie, that would be awesome.
But another thing I considered, I spoke to, I guess Ian. He's the I think he's the editor-in-chief or was for Marcosia, and he told me there's a publisher who distributes books in the UK as well as the United States. So you can go through them or something like that. Like there's options and possibilities. Like you can get RJ. Was it Critical Mass or something?
Blast? Yeah, I think that's actually who I'm going to do my fulfillment through.
Yeah, if you do it through him, I think he might have a solution. I have a friend. Where is he? He's out in the world somewhere. Spain, maybe. Mm-hmm. And he teamed with somebody else, Mike Jimmy, who I think distributes his comics. Critical Blast, RJ. Yes, that's correct, Fanta.
Yep. He's got somebody over in England that, and he's got somebody in Australia that he does it with as well. Where he ships.
Joe M. Sonntag is very cool. I had him on Apex After Dark a few months ago. Yeah. And Keith said, "Sub to Vic. His channel question is Pete's cover tier up on Indiegogo yet? It should be." No, it's not.
No,
right?
No, I haven't added it yet, but I can add it right away. Give me like 5 minutes, it'll be out there.
Once you create the tier, you can't change what it looks like, though, right?
Right. That's the only problem.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to wait until I finish the inks to do it. or you don't care about the numbering or whatever, and just add another tier with the artwork. I don't know. It's up to you.
I'm trying to think. Maybe see. That's a good question.
What do you think, folks? Comment in the chat. Should he add it now? Should he add it later?
I could add a tier now, right? And so for those that are in the know and want to order it today, they can do that.
Right.
And then when the inks are done and we have the art to present, I can close out that other tier and open a new one with the art.
Right.
That works, right?
That sounds like a plan.
All right. Let me do that right now.
Apex says, I plan on purchasing 2 Beowar t-shirts and King Palmiotti variant on Friday. Please add it this week. And Keith says, I'll keep checking back. Excellent. And Charles Reeves, hey, what's up? What's up? Yeah, what is it? Tuesday? I'm trying to think of my workload and other things I need to get finished and blah blah blah. But I mean, I could tell you, like, I'll have it done Friday. You know, for you to officially put the tier up with our artwork. But you could put up a temporary one right now so that people could jump on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
So you don't have to sweat your last days on the campaign. Am I gonna make it? I don't know. It's so close.
You know something? It is. It is a little nerve-wracking, but I mean, it's like, because this is my first time doing it by myself. I've been involved in a couple of campaigns with other people, but
yeah, it's a lot different when it's your own.
Right. It's 2 T's, right?
Palmiotti, yes.
Okay.
P-A-L.
I didn't want to spell it wrong.
Palmiotti. Palmiotti. I noticed Rex mispronounced it sometimes, and even Joe Sonntag has mispronounced it sometimes.
If I ever do, correct me.
Yeah.
I have no problem being corrected.
You know, it's like, I don't know if the way I pronounce it is correct, but it's the way I've known it all my life.
It's the family way, then that is.
Yeah, it's the family way. It's like, there's definitely been variations on a theme over the years. Like a lot of people have called us Palmieri. Like, there's no ER. I don't know. As long as you get my first name right, then I'm happy. Apex is asking, has Bancroft reached out to you?
Not yet. I did. I sent him a message this morning though, so I don't think he's had a chance to yet. So
Yeah, he's probably at work and different timeline as well. Apex says, I'm glad I pronounced Palmiotti right. I'm glad too. You know, it's funny when I was working on Aquaman, and my brother was also inking at the time.
mm-hmm.
You know, their thing back then was to put people's last names on the cover. And while I sign a lot of my artwork now as just Palmiotti, back then, like that's how my brother was signing stuff. So I signed my full name, Peter Palmiotti. And they were like, well, we'll put your first initial on there, but not my first full name. So I was like, well, I don't want P Palmiotti. That looks like a mistake. So make it, put my middle initial in there. At least it stands out better. So it was PL Palmiotti a lot of times. It's like I really, other than my time on Aquaman, I really didn't encounter that much. But
who was penciling your stint on?
that was Jim Calfury.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's really good, and the only thing I didn't love that he did was when characters had black hair, it was
Right.
solid black, so it was like a silhouette.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I love. There's nothing more that I love than inking hair, like like if you see this piece, which is still available, if somebody wants to buy it, just like naturally going with a brush and doing all the feathering and stuff. And I love inking that and
giving character, right?
Yeah, and if it was a character with just black hair, like if it was Bruce Wayne, it would just be a silhouette from Calfury's style. And I was like, well, that's not fun. It just, I'd just be inking an outline and filling it in black. And it was like, but he, everything else he does is excellent. It's just like every individual artist has their own style and approach. And,
Right.
I wasn't going to change it because, I preferred it somewhere else.
For anybody that's interested, I did add that perk to the campaign.
So, is there a perk link? Does each perk have a different link? Or you just go to campaign?
I don't know. I think, as far as I know, you go to the campaign. I don't know if there's an actual. Let me see if there is a link.
You know how like when people have other people sign up and they have certain perks, those are individual links.
Oh, that would be a secret perk. That would be a secret perk.
Right. I don't know how they achieved the link though. I don't know if you could do that for you. Anyway,
just remind people, if anybody is backing, Indiegogo tries to force you to give them a 15% tip. You just click on that little box. There's an arrow on the box, and you click down. You hit other amount, and it zeroes it out.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to give Indiegogo a tip.
Unless you're rich, and I mean, if you're rich, I do have a PayPal link where you can tip me. I don't have super chats yet, but throw me a tip. And here's Mario. Hey, just got home. How are you doing today? Doing good. Working on a exclusive cover, which is now on Indiegogo. You can order it. This is Vic King's pencils and my inks on his project Beowar.
I try. Keith Smith says some pencilers also are sticklers for keeping to their line weights, even if they don't differentiate them. I try to do a little bit of differentiation, but I'm not so good, especially with penciling. I'm not so good. I'm not even, like, when I'm making my own stuff, I'm not even that good with line weights. I try my best at it. So I have nothing of being a stickler about that at all, because that's something I'm still trying to master, is the whole line weight thing. I kind of hold my breath and fudge it.
Well, it's like the way I see my work is I'm flexible according to what I see before me. Meaning, like, there's things I typically do, but I don't do it all the time if there's restrictions on a certain piece, or if it just bends a certain way. Like when I worked on Cal Fury, like, he's super tight, extremely tight. And when I was working on Aquaman, the problem I had was I wanted to beef up some of the lines, but they were so close together that I couldn't in some cases. So, like, in most cases, I always try to give a thicker outline to what's in the foreground as opposed to what's in the background.
Right.
But like if it was, a page from Aquaman where the lines were so close together, it's like, well, I can only beef it up so much before I'm not doing individual lines. It's like I never wanted to connect two his lines together. So.
Oh, so he was like super tight, like Ivan Reese.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah. And I mean, it also depended on how ahead he was. If he was rushing, he might be a little looser on some of the pages, but for the most part, he was always super tight. And sometimes there was room, sometimes there wasn't. And, it's like I just go according to what, like I said, like what I see in front of me, like what I can do on this page that will punch it up a bit, give it a little more pizzazz, put stars in all the characters' eyes, whatever.
Let's see if I can do this.
Keith says, any tips got to the creators? Ella? I'm sure that makes sense in your brain. I'm missing your point.
Tips to the creatives?
It says, any tips got to the creators? LOL. Ha ha ha.
Oh,
He might have
any
meant any tips from the creatives. I don't know.
or did you give any of the like the pencilers any, like, did you give them any kind of
Oh,
direction or influence that they might have been like, you know what, like, you're right, maybe I should do a little bit of this, like, collaboration type kind of thing.
probably. Like early on, it was all like what Jim wanted me to do because he was a professional. He was working for Marvel and DC at that point. And he got me the job on Aquaman. So we this is before the internet, so we did phone calls and literally spent hours with him, going panel by panel by panel, and him going over details of what he was looking for. So I would get my FedEx package, the next 3 or 5 pages or whatever it was, and he'd go over every panel and point out figure work or background work or whatever, like just go over everything he thought I might miss or just wanted to point out or whatever. Like I spent way too much money on phone calls, like going over every point. But it was super helpful. Like the skill level of me before issue 10 of Aquaman and after is astounding. Because we spent hours just going over every page from all 22 pages.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of thing, like, I mean, I'm happy going the route that I'm going, but that's kind of one of the things that, like, I don't know. I can't say that I would never take any work from the big guys, because it would be awesome to work with somebody, like that,
Yeah, I do my best work if I'm surrounded by people who I feel like I'm not even in their class, So yeah, it's you definitely learn by having people. It's not even about years sometimes, like because there's new kids on the block that are phenomenal. So it's just surround yourself with creative, talented people, and you'll naturally get better. Unless you don't, like you have low opinions of everybody, and you're like, I'm the greatest in the world, then you'll never get better. I forget if I said it out loud, but Mario is here, otherwise known as Marv, the Sin Killer. Peter, I'm a little late on fulfillment because I had to redo the book and a small issue with mix them, and I'll get the print run in 2 weeks, and it will be magazine size. Oh my god! Is that? I guess that's bigger than what you originally planned. I forget if it said magazine size on the campaign. So Marv, otherwise known as Mario, does a book called The Sin Killer, and I think I ordered issues 1 and 2, or I don't know, I forget. Sometimes I order stuff and I'm broke and I don't have the money and think I ordered. Pretty sure I ordered both issues. So does that mean issue 1 and 2 is magazine size. I've seen some creators doing that, like Neff, who was here earlier, might still be around working. His book is bigger than regular comic book size. I know I want to do a for retro. I want to do a black and white version. I didn't think of it when I did the Kickstarter, but when I do the Indiegogo, I want to do a bigger size comic, but in black and white. And Marv says U.S. size for the campaign. I decided to print bigger. Okay.
That's the way to go, Marv. Beowar is going to be magazine size. I personally I like that. There were a couple others too that did magazine size. Obviously, there was Heavy Metal, but there was also Vampirella.
Yeah. Creepy.
Just make for fun experiences, I thought, I still like the regular size comic, but
I remember, like when I first started seeing actual comic pages in real life, in person, in my hands, how impressed I was with the artwork that went into it. Like, and you don't really get it 100% by looking at a 8x10 comic,
right?
And so yeah, there's a greater appreciation for magazine size or bigger. Like that's why they're doing like all this artist edition stuff through
yeah, they're at
Dynamite.
least 9x12.
Yeah, they're all big. It's all freaking gorgeous to look at.
Yeah. I think that's why Conan stuck with me all these years, is because the Savage Sword magazine, because it was like he was larger than life almost, compared to other comic book heroes,
He was bigger than you were at that age.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I was able to add, so I did add the perk, but I was also able to add an add-on perk.
Cool.
And that should help. The people like. It should help everybody. Everybody.
We're just here to help everybody. Apex says Justice magazine in the early 80s was magazine size for 3 issues and reduced it in size for issue 4. Justice magazine. That sounds familiar. Was that like a superhero comic?
Justice Machine?
Justice Machine. Did I say that?
was that a DC book?
No, I think it was an independent title.
Apex knows a lot. Like,
yeah, Apex and Rex, and I have a vast. I believe I have a vast amount of comic book knowledge, but they seem to pick stuff out of the air. Like, I gotta think about it. Keith goes, magazine size is awesome for direct shipping, but don't shops hate it because it lessens the number of different titles they can display.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
well, they used to.
I mean, there's a lot more different sized comics and books. Like some people print their trades digest size, which me personally, I don't like, because then it's even super hard to read. Like it's already hard enough to read like average comic text, but if you're going to shrink it, then it's like Margot says, that sounds good. Thank you, Vic. I'm not sure what she's responding to, but
Oh, because I put an add-on perk.
oh, okay. So that works. U.S. creators must find a way to send books to Europe cheaper. $30 shipping plus customs and taxes is insane. Sent worldwide for $10. Yeah.
How do you send worldwide for $10?
Well,
Unless you're taking a hit, right?
Send it from him to other people. It only costs him $10, but
Oh,
for
from
me
the
to ship
US,
him,
right?
it would cost $30. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I do. I do remember somebody telling me that. Yeah.
That's like Canada. Like sending something to Canada is only so much, but Canada to send something, to the U.S. is so much more for them. I have a friend who's out in Canada that does prints, and it's easier for him to ship a box of the prints over to the U.S. and then like have things distributed from there. Oh, here we go. Justice Machine was created by Mike Gustovich, originally in the 70s, Power of Comics. Noble Comics published JC in the early 80s, and Innovative Comics bought the rights in the late 80s. I got a piece I'm going to be inking over Mike. Speaking of Mike G, I'll eventually get to. It was like we were commenting on Facebook, and he was like, I'd love to see your inks on a piece of mine. And I was like, well, send me something. And he sent me something. Just haven't gotten to it yet. I think it's OMAC, the DC character.
Oh, nice. I like OMAC.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a good character.
It's Kirby madness creation.
He created some insane characters.
Yeah. But I sort of remember Justice Machine. I might have had an issue or two, or maybe my brother. Yeah, man, there's so many great books that just didn't have a chance. Never had a chance. It was like, because of challenges of the industry at the time, and like back in the day, it's like if you did an independent comic, you had to sell 2,000 copies to make break even or something. You don't have to do that now.
No, and that's one of the things that we should all be very grateful for like the time. There are disadvantages to the time we live in, but there are very distinct advantages to the time we live in.
Yeah. Much like everything, can definitely guarantee that things will change, but like be aware of opportunities now and just
make the most out of them. Yeah. Because we can put together small runs of books, even 50 to 100 copies without before you'd have to the only way you could do it would be to photocopy them. Staple photocopies together.
One of the things I want to do, like this is something that we can do together, meaning me, you, Apex, and Rex, and maybe a few other select people.
Sure.
Is like once I get a couple of pages colored, which won't be until next year, but I want to do a comic. Well, color comic, regular comic book, but it will have, 4 or 6 pages from my book, 4 or 6 pages from your book, 4 or 6 pages from Madam X. It's like whatever,
Oh, like a sampler book.
Yeah,
They used to make those. Yeah, yeah.
we should definitely do one together.
Absolutely.
And this way, or different audiences will see our individual projects and.
Oh, hail. Thank you, Keith. Keith says, I have purchased on Indiegogo. Thanks, Vic. No, thank you, man. Thank you.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Now throw me a tip, my good friend. Buy his book, but ignore me. That's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, let's throw some tips to Peter. This guy's been inking straight, drawing straight for 3 hours now.
There you go. Yes, I don't normally do this, and actually my time is going to run out on streaming. I have to upgrade this month, but I have to get my bills in order first. Every month is a challenge, but that's what it's been for this year for me. It's like I've been working on stuff that's not necessarily pulling in a lot of money, but I'm working towards getting a bunch of books done. And it didn't pan out this year because of tragedy and me going away next month for 2 months and blah blah blah. But next year is going to be a hell of a lot smoother, and I know things will run a lot hotter next year. I'm excited for a lot of things that are going to be happening.
Oh yeah, next year is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peck says, we will tip Peter very well soon. Awesome. And the Apex says, I occasionally print out quality zines and ASHCANs, though photocopies. I add a color cardstock cover and it looks great. Yeah, like that's old school ASHCANs. Absolutely. And he says he loves the idea, sample idea. We'll do it. Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, I'm just trying to think of little ideas to
maximize
all of us.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going to be working with Allison McGlawn on her book that is written by Laurie Calcaterra, who's got her own other book, Path of the Pale Rider, that's currently on Kickstarter. For those that don't know, I got a bunch of links to campaigns from friends, as well as fellow peers who got campaigns going. Some of them are live, some of them are in demand. I got one listing down there that's just somebody's store.
Oh, are you on the Pale Rider campaign?
Well, if it does really, really well, then I'll be inking a story for it.
Oh, cool. I saw her promoting that not too long ago, like a week ago.
Yeah, she's great, and I got the first issue recently in the mail and read it and really liked it. It's pretty brave because is not a lot of words to read for the first issue.
Right.
And it's just really, I wouldn't say it's relying on the artwork to tell the story, but it's integrated where the writing and the art work really well together to tell the story. And it's just really well done. And the first issue was black and white, but she wants to crowdfund good enough where she can afford the coloring, which everybody should check it out and pledge to that. And yeah, if it breaks a certain stretch goal, I don't think she announced it as who the team is, so I might be speaking out, but just know that I'll ink a story for it.
Woo-hoo.
So if we can, also group in Allison and Laurie into our little sampler.
Hell yeah.
Because it's, I was part of Genesis crew. And while I like a lot of those people, it became too big. And they just kept inviting people. But if we can get a little gang going and just keep it at that small gang.
Yeah.
And sort of really support each other, I think we can grow that much faster. But it's just me putting in my own 2 cents and trying to take over. So
no, it's a great idea. It's a
tell me to
fantastic.
step off. That's I'm just a pushing New Yorker. I'm glad you like it. But I will say that, yes, we have been going a long time, and I should probably
take a break. Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've eaten up a good chunk of your day already.
Oh, no problem. This is fun. Before we go,
yes,
make sure to mention that our cover is on your campaign, and also, any other links or anything coming up that you're doing that you also want to mention. So you have the floor.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've just added the link for our cover. I'm calling it the Peter Palmiotti exclusive inked variant cover. And that's on the Beowar campaign right now, which is pinned at the top. There's also an add-on perk there. So if you wanted to get for his cover, so if you wanted to get one of the other covers or another item, another perk from the campaign, you can add on the exclusive cover, and you won't get charged extra shipping. And I'm trying to think what else. So Sunday there's going to be a launch on Dark Gifts channel for Lightbringer 2, which is a book that I'm drawing for Liz Skokiel, and is being published by Dark Gift Comics. So that will be being launched on Sunday. I'm not sure what time exactly, but it'll be all day Sunday. I'm pretty sure, if I know Dark Gift and Liz were all right. So, Peter, I want to thank you, man. I really do. This was awesome. I loved hanging out and talking with you, dude. This is this has been great, as it always is. I do want to let you know though, when you're getting stuff ready, you got a free piece of art for retro coming from me. You just let me know what
Yes.
you want, what you need, and I'm there for you, bro.
Yeah, it's nothing we have to do right now, and I want to give you reference. It seems like every artist who's done retro has made them look slightly different. So I gotta do a turnaround, like where it's exactly what he looks like and blah blah. But yeah, this has been fun. And, you're easy to talk to and hang out with, and you may not have 100 years behind you, but you definitely got talent, and you love what you do. So like that's a unique combination in comics. Like you're not like super negative. Oh, I hate my job. Uh,
No, I love it. I never want to do anything else.
um,
Thank you, man. I appreciate that compliment. I really do.
uh, my pleasure, man. And we'll be streaming again and doing stuff and hanging out and whatnot. I doubt I'll ever do 30-hour streams like Rex, insane man. Um,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah. Uh,
I am old school. I do tend to like to just like disappear for 8 hours and get work done.
yeah, me and Rex were lunatics.
But yeah, it's fun to go long every once in a while and really give it your best shot.
Well, I know everybody's enjoyed watching you ink. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm just totally loving it, man. I can't wait to
Thanks.
see it finish. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get a lot more done, and yeah, I figure by Friday I'll have it done, if not before.
Sweet.
Thank you everybody who showed up in the chat and um, commented and talked with us and shared in topics and whatnots. And everybody who subscribed and liked this video, and all those that will share it out, will watch this later. Appreciate you one and all, and I'll be back again probably tomorrow, some point, sometime. I don't have a regular schedule. I just go with the wind. But love you all. Keep making comics, keep making art, and have a great, great day.